Hey, Facebook friends, I'm meteorologist Angela Buckman. Want to get you caught up on severe storms moving across central Indiana. We do have our first tornado warning of the night, and that's for the western part of the state. It's going to include parts of Vermilion, northern part of Vermilion, northwestern Park, and the southwestern sections of Fountain County. So this goes until 12:15. While we're on this close view, we'll check velocities. And remember, if you've watched any of our coverage, we look for red and green close together. It's not very tight, a little disorganized, but a couple of areas of concern, one near Newport and another one just north of Kingman. So if you're in this area from Highland to Newport to Kingman to Petersburg, safest part of your home is going to be away from windows and doors, and lowest level, that tornado warning, goes until 12:15. We do have additional storms developing, triggering warnings all across central Indiana. Most of these are severe thunderstorm warnings. I'm going to give you several closer views, and we'll start south and west with this cell. And as the National Weather Service described this warning, they worded it the potential for damage, considerable damage, due to the potential for wind gusts with 70 miles per hour. So the strongest part of the storm is over Bloomfield. It's moving quickly toward Ellisville, Bloomington, Clear Creek. We've been tracking these storms moving northeast at about 55 miles per hour or so. So while we're on this view, I'll do a quick storm track and do the leading edge of the storm, not necessarily the severe part, but as this goes out in time, there are several places in the path of the strongest part. Clear Creek in 5 minutes, Ellisville in 6, Bloomington in 6, the IU campus in 7, and Lake Lemon, if you're familiar with that area, in less than 20 minutes. So we encourage you to take this storm seriously as well. Remember, this area is also under a tornado watch, and depending on the community you live in, sometimes the sirens will sound. But a reminder, those sirens are only meant for indoor use, or outdoor use rather, only meant for outdoor use. And hopefully you're not outside on a stormy Friday night. We have additional warnings that extend back through Vincennes, and from here we will go north, and this large line of thunderstorms now triggering warnings from Logansport to Lafayette, preparing you Crawfordsville or just west of there due to some of the storms that are just to your west, including that tornado warned storm that is moving out of Vermilion County right now over northwestern Park and southwestern Fountain counties. That tornado warning goes until 12:15. As far as the severe thunderstorm warnings, Montgomery until 12:30, the rest of Park also until 12:30, Tippecanoe County western half also included. Northern Fountain until 12:30. We also have Warren until 12:30, and then up into White County until 12:15, and what's left of the storm in Benton County until midnight. So numerous storms all along this line that we've been tracking for the last several hours as it moved through parts of Illinois. There were numerous tornado warnings in Illinois. Several confirmed tornadoes. We will wait to see if any damage reports come out of this, but we're not the only ones dealing with severe weather at this point. In fact, additional storms have developed, especially to our southwest. That includes parts. Yes.
If they can put up links to, we may have had a tornado signature, debris signature, just west of Kingman with that tornado warning.
Okay, so Sean's on links too.
Yeah. So in between Perrysville and Newport, you can see that little donut there. Now we're going back in time. This is roughly about 5 minutes ago, and starting to lose. So that's part of the tornado warning.
Okay, so when we see that signature on live Doppler 13 radar, it helps us kind of help you pinpoint where there's rotation. A lot goes into that algorithm to get that what we call shear marker or rotation detector up, and now knowing that was seen, as Sean pointed out, about 5 minutes ago. That is concerning. So if you live in the area near Kingman and just east of there now, as it continues to move off to the east, we encourage you to be in the safest part of your home. I am going to take a few questions before we get back on Channel 13 and do another live update, just to make sure everyone is updated on the severe storms moving across the area. And this is really just the beginning of a stormy night. If you've been with us the last couple of days, we've been talking about this as well. So Carrie checking in on the tornado warning in Vermilion County. Yes, it's just north of Terre Haute. Let's see here. Rockville, the alarm just went off. So Joe, thank you for checking in. And that's not surprising. Rockville, you're just south of that tornado warned storm. And that is, I'm going to give you a closer view of that storm. And that is, so Rockville is just south. But Sean mentioned Kingman. If you're in that area, Kingman, and then north and now as we progress in time off to the east, again, we encourage you to be in the safest part of your home. Question about Shelbyville. Yes, you've got some storms coming your way. Frankfort, Tabitha checking in. Yes. Let's see here. Montgomery County likely to go under a warning. Sherry, for now, it's a severe thunderstorm warning. So if you're familiar with Montgomery County, that includes the city of Crawfordsville, this area here. So it's western Montgomery County so far that's just under the warning. And for now, that is just a severe thunderstorm warning. I'm sure the National Weather Service is going to continue to monitor how the radar looks, any information from storm spotters that might be in the area. But I can tell you it is going to be very, very difficult. It's dark. It's not safe to be spotting or, tracking these storms. So wouldn't be surprised if just based on radar, they continue the tornado warning if that signature continues to develop. Let's see here. Newcastle, you're still a ways away from getting anything significant and storms at this hour. These extend back to the south and west toward Bloomington. Lots of severe thunderstorm warnings, but currently the only tornado warning is for that small area. And I'm going to give you one more close view before we get off here and go to Channel 13 and give an update. And while we're here, we'll do the velocities. And again, what we look for, a little red and green close together, it's not very tight, not very organized, but it's still showing that potential signature. So as long as that continues, we may see this extended off to the east to include eastern parts of Fountain, northeastern sections of Park, and maybe eventually western Montgomery. So stick with us. We'll be monitoring that. Carla checking in from Pendleton, and we also have storms headed your way. Really, it's going to cover all of central Indiana in varying degrees of severity. We just hope the majority of the storms stay below severe limits, but because of the wind field and the dynamic nature to this powerful storm system, damaging winds, the threat for tornadoes will continue over the next couple of hours. Asking about Monrovia, Howard County, Anderson, and Muncie. Thank you, Nicole, for checking in, along with Charla, Brenda in Greensburg, Amber in Muncie, Brianna in Anderson, Bartholomew County. Yes, you're still under the tornado watch until 3 a.m. Again, the rotating part of this storm is now nearing Petersburg, in between Petersburg and Kingman, and tracking northeast toward Wingate and Waynetown. So even if this isn't producing a tornado, when we start to see that rotation with the velocities, it can also indicate the potential for some damaging winds. So keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be a tornado to do damage. We can have winds 60, 70 miles per hour that can do a fair amount of damage. So we're going to be concerned with that as well. Lighting up all across central Indiana. We appreciate you checking in, and we are going to take a break from Facebook Live. We're going to do another live update on Channel 13 just to get everybody caught up, and we'll kind of be off and on Facebook Live this evening, so just be sure to check back with us. We appreciate you watching. And good evening. I'm meteorologist Angela Buckman. Want to get you caught up on the severe storms moving across central Indiana at this hour. The tornado warned storm continues to track east. At this point from the National Weather Service, no reports of any damage, but keep in mind it's dark. It's going to be difficult to see any damage until really we get the light of day. We were noticing some rotation with this storm near the Kingman area. The strongest part of this cell is now east of Kingman. Technically, we've got about 5-6 minutes left on the tornado warning for parts of Fountain, Vermilion, northeastern Vermilion, and the northwestern sections of Park counties. But keep in mind, these storms are moving very quickly off to the north and east, and the majority of the strong part of this cluster of storms is now off to the east. So we wanted to get you weather aware and ahead of the storm. Hillsborough, Waynetown, Marshall, the strongest part of this cluster of storms is over you now and tracking off to the east northeast toward those of you in Crawfordsville, Newmarket, Waveland, and Darlington. So this area will be next, and it will be interesting to see if the National Weather Service issues anything additional as far as a tornado warning goes, or if they're going to keep with the severe thunderstorm warning. And we do have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings, including just about the rest of Park County, including you in Rockville, a storm intensifying near 36 and 41 just west of town. That severe thunderstorm warning for Park County goes until 12:30. This is also going to include western Montgomery, eastern parts of Fountain, and then into western Tippecanoe. Attica, you're also included in this severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 12:30. Let's come out just a little bit to kind of give you a slightly larger view. Just the sheer amount of warnings from the one tornado warning that, again, I think is going to be allowed to go here at 12:15, if not earlier. They canceled it. Thank you, Sean. Sean Ash is in the building as well this evening, helping us help you stay safe and stay weather aware. So that tornado warning was canceled from the National Weather Service. And again, no reports of anything spotted at this point, but just keep in mind it's dark. We're not going to be able to see anything until we get some daylight tomorrow. What you do need to know, this cluster of thunderstorms extends from just west of Crawfordsville to near Rockville, up into Lafayette, Logansport, Monticello. And what I'll do is I'll go north to south along this line to get you caught up, and then we'll wait it out just to make sure the National Weather Service doesn't issue any additional tornado warnings, and then we'll get you back to regular programming. But we did we've been keeping you updated on this storm system for the last couple of days, and now that it's overhead, we want to make sure you know what's going on. Thunderstorms from Logansport, Royal Center, Monticello, Monon, Brookston. These severe thunderstorm warnings go until 12:15. And remember, it doesn't take a tornado to do damage. These thunderstorms have the potential, with the wind field in play over central Indiana, to reach 70 miles per hour or more. So definitely, even if you're not under a tornado warning, you've got a storm overhead, you really want to be in the safest part of your home, lowest level away from windows and doors. Remember, Tippecanoe County, your severe thunderstorm warning, battleground, Lafayette, Shadeland, that goes until 12:30. This goes all the way south into Waynetown, just west of Crawfordsville, and Rockville. That looks to be one of the stronger parts of this line of storms. And before we move on, we'll check velocities, hinting at a little bit of rotation north of Rockville. Nothing very organized at this point. And what we look for here is a little red and green close together. Easiest way to explain it to you. So we'll continue to monitor the southern part of that cluster of storms that's right now over Rockville. Even if it doesn't rotate, may be producing some damaging winds. Let's go to the east, and we'll pick up downtown Indianapolis. The heavy rain has stopped, at least briefly. It has made its way into Lawrence, Fishers, Fortville, Pendleton, over toward Mount Pleasant, Franklin, Newcastle, gusty thunderstorms, Greenfield, Carthage, Knightstown, Spiceland. Nothing warned for here. Downtown Indianapolis, you've got another cell that's near Plainfield and the airport that's tracking northeast. So Indy, Beech Grove, Southport, southwest side, get ready. You've got more storms moving in. Johnson County getting hit hard. Nothing severe at this point, but additional storms south to Martinsville. Here is our other warning. I'm going to come out a little bit, and it looks like on the back side of this cluster they have issued a new tornado warning. This is going to include southwestern Greene County until 12:45, so that's just to the southwest of Bloomfield. The severe thunderstorm warning for you, Bloomington, goes until 12:15. Kind of looks like the strongest part of that cell has moved up toward Martinsville and east and northeast of you, so we'll continue to monitor that. We're not the only ones dealing with the threat for severe storms tonight. Unfortunately, there have been numerous tornadoes confirmed. There's been a lot of damage across parts of Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, and western Tennessee. Now that the National Weather Service hasn't issued anything additional on that one tornado warning, we're going to get back to regular programming, but don't go too far. We're not going anywhere. We're going to get you through the next couple of hours off and on severe thunderstorms. Even if you're not under a tornado warning, the potential exists for damaging wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour. So stick with us. We'll continue to keep you updated. Alrighty, we got everyone on Channel 13 updated. And at this point, no additional information from the National Weather Service on that original tornado warning. But we do have another storm that we're tracking across the southwestern part of the state. And the National Weather Service did issue a tornado warning on this one. Locally, it only includes the far southwestern section of Greene County, but it is a cell that we'll continue to monitor because if it continues to track northeast, Bloomfield, Ellettsville, Bloomington, kind of down the road, would eventually be in the path. So we're going to continue to keep a close eye on this one. It is a tornado warning for parts of Greene County, and that goes until 12:45. Additionally, as we track north and east, the severe thunderstorm warning that was up for Bloomington was allowed to expire at 12:15. Boy, but we still have some gusty storms. Just now east, northeast of Lake Monroe, Nashville, those are moving your way. A cluster of storms between Columbus and Seymour along Interstate 65 and Highway 31, also moving northeast. So Columbus, you're going to be noisy for quite a while. And within these clusters of storms, the potential exists for those winds that may be upwards of 60, 70 miles per hour at times if we get some stronger gusts with these thunderstorms. Martinsville, you've got some storms overhead. Trafalgar, we're tracking another complex moving toward downtown. Fortville, Greenfield, Knightstown, Newcastle, Anderson. Let's go up a little more north into Muncie, Summitville, Eaton, Parker City. We've got storms, nothing severe. However, we do have the area just near Lafayette and approaching Crawfordsville under severe thunderstorm warnings. Those go until 12:30. It's going to include a good part of Tippecanoe, western half of Montgomery, most of Park County, including those of you in Rockville. Let's give a couple of closer views. We were watching this when we updated Channel 13, some potential rotation near Rockville. Again, red and green is what you're looking for close together. It's not very tight, not very organized, but still potential exists for some strong, potentially damaging winds with these storms as they continue to roll through. An interesting cell now approaching Crawfordsville. You can see the higher returns here east of Waynetown, just west of Crawfordsville. So we'll check the velocities here. Again, brighter green indicating the potential for some gustier winds. Nothing at this point that signifies any significant rotation, which is great news at this hour. And then we go north, Lafayette. Yes, you've got some storms, Delphi, Flora, and Deer Creek, and it looks like we've issued severe thunderstorm warnings, National Weather Service, east of this line. So in preparation for this line to continue to make its way off to the east. So Clinton County, western Clinton County, up into Carroll until 12:45, the rest of Montgomery County until 12:45, and then northern Putnam until 12:45. So that's a new warning from the National Weather Service as far as severe thunderstorm warnings go. But very active radar at this hour. At this point, nothing confirmed in terms of damage or anything from the original tornado warning. But as I mentioned to the folks that are watching on Channel 13, it obviously is going to be very difficult for us to see anything as far as trees or power lines down until we maybe get some reports of power outages that might come out from the area. Obviously, it's dark, and we'll know more once we get a little bit of daylight. And unfortunately, that daylight is also going to reveal really a destructive evening to our southwest. There were reports coming out of Arkansas of a couple of nursing homes that were hit, and really just a scary situation. I'm going to show you the large view of the radar, and really it's been almost that southern line, western Kentucky, western Tennessee, that's been the more active so far anyway, the more active and more destructive line. Although we did show some video on Channel 13 of an Amazon distribution center coming out of Illinois of a roof blown off. So we don't know if that was tornado damage or strictly wind damage, but obviously as we get daylight and we get into the weekend and early next week, National Weather Service offices across Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Tennessee will be very, very busy, unfortunately, surveying a lot of damage, especially to our southwest. I will take a few questions. If you are up late on this Friday night, early Saturday morning, we appreciate you checking in. Let's see here. Oh, Jacob asking, remember when sirens would sound with a tornado watch and a severe thunderstorm warning? Yes, and I'm not sure if all of that has stopped or if it just depends on the community, but oftentimes that has happened, and I believe it still can happen. Let's see here. Yes.
Part of our viewing area that goes until 6 a.m.
Okay, so it was interesting, Sean. We had a couple viewers reaching out going, okay, wait a minute.
Right.
Hamilton County, am I in the clear? Well, no,
yeah.
It's just going to be a little bit later. So thank you very much.
Just put that out.
Okay, so that watch, let me see. I think I have the watch box up. So it hasn't quite updated, but that's new information coming from the Storm Prediction Center. They're going to issue a new tornado watch to cover our eastern viewing area until 6 a.m. as we continue to monitor the threat for severe weather. This is how the large view of the radar looks and the numerous warnings. Luckily, across Indiana, most of these are severe thunderstorm warnings. Now, we don't want you to let your guard down because a severe thunderstorm can do just as much damage as a low-end tornado. So keep in mind, even if you're not under a tornado warning, but you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, we want you to take the storm seriously tonight, lowest level, and then, just kind of wait until these storms pass you by as far as maybe going to sleep if the storms have you up late tonight. Thunder and lightning in Newcastle. Hope, thanks so much for checking in. Carl wants to know what's coming for Columbus. Right now, Carl, nothing severe, but these clusters of storms may cause some wind gusts on, nearing severe limits, 40, 50 miles per hour. Where we have the warnings, the potential exists for some higher gusts, 60 to 70 miles per hour. Howard County, right now, no warnings for you, but Howard County, what you see just west of you, and I'm going to go back to the radar so I can do a little more analysis. So here is Howard County, and you're pretty quiet right now except for a little cell. This is just south of Galveston, but you can see what's off to your west. So all of this has to move through, which is the reason we've got the tornado watch for the western and parts of the central part of the state until 3 a.m. and then the eastern part of the state until 6 a.m. because we really don't think that severe threat will be over completely until 5 or 6 in the morning. So that's a close-up view of Howard County, and the warnings have been issued because of that stronger line of storms that's in between Monticello and Logansport right now, approaching Delphi, in Battleground, down to Lafayette and Shadeland as well. In fact, we will go just a little bit south so you can see kind of the southern extent of this line into Tippecanoe County, and then south from there into Crawfordsville and approaching Newmarket. Let's see. Darlene, and Sean, you might know the answer to this one, wants to know, and I assume she's speaking about the big tornado south that has crossed a couple of states.
Yes.
Is it still going?
Yeah. Give me a, okay.
All right, he's going to check that out.
Yeah. Pop up links too, if you can. And
yes, it is up.
yeah. All right. So this is the supercell right here. So this tornado warning, and notice how far out. So this is south central Kentucky. Okay, that has sadly crossed through 4 states. You can see these tornado markers here. Whether or not it was one continuous tornado or multiple, bottom line, it was a long track supercell that went through northeast Arkansas, the Boot Hill of Missouri, northwest Tennessee, and it has been producing incredible radar imagery any time of year, let alone an overnight tornado in December. So sadly, it is still going right now. It is still showing tornado characteristics, and it is lifting northeast. So, and the problem is it's by itself. What I mean by that, there's really no storms south of it to block its inflow. And that's why this thing has been living as long as it has. And so if it continues on this track, then the Louisville area is going to be involved in this. And I'm probably going to have to call some relatives, my mom down there, and give her a heads up and wake her up here very soon if this thing does not fall apart. So, but yes, you know, and you said it a few times tonight, when we get up tomorrow morning, daylight, it's going to be heartbreaking. Some of the pictures we've seen so far, but when daylight comes, it's going to be really bad.
Yeah, I'm afraid of some of the images that we're unfortunately going to see. I had a viewer ask for an update on the tornado warning for southwest Greene County. So we'll go back to the kind of a close-up view of that tornado warned storm. It's really on the edge of our radar coming out of Indianapolis, but it does still show potential rotation north of Bicknell, approaching Linton. So we will get on Channel 13 here in a few minutes just to give an update, especially if it looks like this one is going to make its way into Bloomfield and continue across Greene County. For now, it's just the far southwestern part of that county. But we do want to make sure that you are weather aware on that cell, a tornado warned cell that is now approaching the southwestern corner of Greene County. Elsewhere, these are strictly severe thunderstorm warnings, and I say strictly severe thunderstorm warnings, but in the environment, the severe environment that we're dealing with, it really doesn't take much to get these storms to produce severe wind gusts upwards of 60, 70 miles per hour. So that's our concern. We obviously appreciate all of you watching. Kyle checking in from Peru. Adam wants to know about Marion. So Marion is up here. I assume we're talking about Marion and not Marion County. You're pretty quiet now, but the concern will be what is developing off to your west, and you can see everything that you're going to have to get through the next couple of hours, which is the reason the Storm Prediction Center did add a tornado watch for the eastern part of the state. And let's see if that has updated. Yes, it has. So those of you in Muncie, Marion, Hartford City, Randolph County south to Richmond, Connorsville, Liberty. This is a tornado watch for you until 6 a.m. Otherwise, the area Indianapolis south and west, that goes until 3 a.m. This is a large view of what we're dealing with. I think I am going to take another quick break, and we are going to do another update on Channel 13 just to give folks in Greene County a heads up on that storm that is approaching the southwestern part of that county, still southwest of Bloomfield, but it is triggering a tornado warning at this point. Okay, I will wait until that's done. So I've got, what, a minute and a half, you said? Okay, so I will wait. So we'll keep chatting then. Lots of folks just saying stay safe, and yes, it's been an interesting storm system to track, and so far we've been on the somewhat quieter end of things, with really that higher threat developing south and southwest. We've got some thunder in Randolph, according to Kenley, so thank you for checking in. Blake asking about Bloomfield. So yes, we've got you covered, Blake, on that tornado warning. It's not near Bloomfield yet, so we're going to wait another minute or so and then do a quick update on Channel 13. And Libby asking about Fishers. Fishers, you've got some storms just to your south that are moving your way, non-severe at this point. Monroe County, so Cheyenne asking about that. Northern part of Monroe County really getting hit the hardest at this point, and most of these storms moving northeast. Yeah, a lot of people are surprised. It is December, and we're not talking about snow. We are talking about severe weather. Sean's been doing, he's very good at stats. And
Okay, so this is only the 20th, because now our dew point is 61 degrees. This is only the 20th December day since 1942 with the dew point this high. And we have only had 2 December days since 1942 with a dew point of 63 or higher. So not hyperbole to say that this is rare air. It truly is from a moisture standpoint. And someone asked me earlier, would these things weaken, or what would cause them to continue? And it's a combination of this moisture and the very strong wind field that is currently beginning to encounter central Indiana right now.
yeah, and the National Weather Service, we are in our break. Okay, then I will take a quick break, and if we can simulcast, we can do that, or I'll just be right back. Okay, I am ready when you are. And good morning now. I'm meteorologist Angela Buckman. Our severe weather coverage continues. We still have a tornado warning in effect for the far southwestern part of the state, but it does include a sliver of one of our counties, that is Greene County, southwest of Bloomington. The cell itself is still southwest of Bloomfield, but I am going to get you a close view. Not very organized at this point, but keep in mind we're on the very edge of our radar coming out of Indianapolis, so just be aware there is still a tornado warning for this area, southwestern Greene County, and that goes until 12:45, so another 13 minutes or so on that tornado warning. So just be aware, Bloomfield and the rest of Greene County, that we are tracking a couple of stronger cells just to your southwest. We've also been monitoring this line of severe storms that extends up to the north, all the way south through about Rockville. So I'm going to quickly go north to south. These are severe thunderstorm warnings with the potential for 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts. They may also rotate with little or no warning. We are under a tornado watch still at this hour. One of the stronger cells east of Royal Center, that's north of Logansport. Another strong one that is near Delphi. And let's go back to a closer view. And I'm just going to kind of slide south along this line. There's that stronger cell near Delphi. That will move toward Flora and Deer Creek. West of Frankfort, strong storm. Severe storm, in fact, east of Crawfordsville. And Sean Ash has been looking at one of our shear rate is what we call it. It doesn't necessarily mean this is rotating or tornadic, but it does give us an indication of the potential for some damaging winds. And you can see that now east of Crawfordsville, approaching Lebanon. So Lebanon, I wouldn't be surprised for the National Weather Service to put you under a severe thunderstorm warning at some point. So this is our shear detector, and all it's picking up are some strong winds. It's still, we're under a tornado watch, the potential that some of these storms may rotate with little or no warning. From there, we have non-severe storms, but lots of rain, lots of lightning, fissures to near Richmond, just northwest of there. Franklin, south to Bloomington, some stronger storms near the Columbus area. We continue to be off and on Facebook Live for you to ask questions and do continuing coverage without interrupting your programming. But we do obviously want to make sure that you are weather aware and up to date on the potential for severe storms. No warnings in this area, but again, from our shear detector, we definitely have that potential for some stronger potential damaging winds coming out of that cell that's now east of Crawfordsville that's heading toward Lebanon. So we just want to make sure that you're weather aware. Again, we'll continue our live coverage on Facebook Live and kind of do off and on coverage here on Channel 13 unless it warrants, unless we would get, you know, a couple of confirmed stronger storms, severe storms, or hopefully not a tornado, but just know that we're here with you and we'll get you through the next several hours. Oh, by the way, the Storm Prediction Center did add the eastern part of the state to a new tornado watch. So those of you in Marion, Muncie, Hartford City, Richmond, Rushville, Franklin County, this is a new tornado watch. It goes until 6 a.m. So if you've been with us the last couple of days, we were monitoring this timeline from about 11 o'clock to 5 a.m. for severe storms, and that appears to be kind of coming true at this point. So we do want you to stay with us. We will be here in the studio with team coverage. Sean with me now. Lindsay will be in early as we get you through the next couple of hours. Right now, nothing severe for you, but you do have rain. You do have some thunderstorms. I had a question about Danville as well, also here in Hendricks County. Again, not severe at this point. Let's see. A question about Greencastle. So let's slide this west just a little bit and pick up Greencastle. Greencastle, not much for you, and really what you see northwest of you, Greencastle, up near Rockville, that's for now sliding off to the north and east, so for now, non-severe. Richmond, you do have storms overhead, not severe at this point, but definitely heavy rain, and you have been added, remember, to the new tornado watch that goes until 6 a.m. So right now, no tornado warnings. We've got a cluster of severe thunderstorm warnings north and west of Indianapolis as the strongest part of this line works its way off to the east and northeast, and then non-severe, but definitely some heavy rain and lightning across the southern part of our viewing area. Lawrence, are we talking about Lawrence the city or Lawrence the county? Let's cover both. Lawrence, the city, you're kind of in a break at this point. Lawrence, the county, you do have some rain and storms overhead, and we do now have a new severe thunderstorm warning. I was mentioning this to the folks watching live on Channel 13. Sean was pointing out some of our analysis that picks up stronger winds. And actually, let's come out just a little bit. Come out. Just because these little streaks of green and then show weak shear or rotation in the atmosphere. It can also just help us kind of point out where we have where we may have damaging winds occurring. And it was coming out of Crawfordsville approaching Lebanon. So I mentioned that Lebanon wouldn't be surprised to have them go under a severe thunderstorm warning. And we now, Lebanon, are under a severe thunderstorm warning. And that is going to go until 1 a.m. And it's going to include northwestern Hamilton County, western Tipton, the rest of Clinton, and Howard County. So one of our viewers that's been checking in on Facebook Live has been asking about Howard County. You're now under a severe thunderstorm warning. National Weather Service has been issuing these based on the potential for wind gusts 60 to 70 miles per hour. And with that shear rate showing up, we are at least seeing that potential for those stronger wind gusts at this point. Let's see here. Bloomington, Indiana. Chris is asking, let's go south to Bloomington. You did have, I went too far south. You did have a warning earlier for Monroe County. Nothing severe right now. The strongest part of that storm that triggered the warning is now up near Franklin and approaching Shelbyville and not nearly as strong. So that's Bloomington. Oh, and Amber wanted to know about Lawrence County. So yes, we've got some rain and we've got a few storms south of you in Paoli, but those most likely will track northeast, may clip Mitchell, but head more toward Brownstown and Seymour and North Vernon. Marcus asking about Martinsville. And yes, we've got some rain across Morgan County, nothing severe at this point. And by the way, if you were watching, and we did have a couple viewers question Greene County, because that was one county, we had far southwestern sliver of that county go under a tornado warning. They did let that go and nothing new. That storm weakened significantly. Muncie and the hours ahead. Since you are basically due east of this cluster of storms that's now approaching Tipton, it's in Frankfort near Lebanon, and let's just measure this out for you. So Muncie is about 47 miles or so. So I would say in the next hour, you're going to have at least the potential for some strong to severe thunderstorms. Nothing for you in terms of severe storms right now. And what it appears to be turning into, and Sean, you can let me know if you see anything different, is really damaging wind gusts, 60, 70 miles per hour. And we may have some non-severe thunderstorm gusts come tomorrow as the colder air moves in.
I think what we're seeing, it's what we call a messy storm mode. And what we mean by that is unlike what's happening across parts of Kentucky and Arkansas, where they had more cellular type storms, these are more clusters. Now, that does not diminish the wind threat. And I might argue in some of these instances, you know, severe wind is going to impact much more of our area, at least potentially. But, you know, you kind of pointed out, we're starting to get these, you know, these warnings north of Indy right now. Doesn't mean that we could not have a tornado briefly along these lines. That is still a possibility. We are not in the environment like we're seeing across south of the Ohio River, where we still have a tornado in progress. And this supercell has produced possibly a long track, one tornado on the ground for, you know, hundreds of miles. And it is still in progress here. So now we'll watch that, because it's going to go, if it continues this track, it's going to go through the Louisville area. It might intersect, you know, southeastern Indiana. But yeah, the way our storm mode's looking now, I guess if there was a best case scenario for us, this might be it, where we don't have these individual cells by themselves that can become much more prolific tornado producers versus what we're seeing right now.
And I think we'll take that, obviously, because it is a nighttime event, but we're not out of the woods either. As Sean pointed out, really with little or no warning with these clusters of storms, we can get a storm that may just start to spin. So we just want you to stay weather aware for the...
Go back to links 2 here.
He's calling for links 2.
This is...
Please and thank you.
This is a great example. Let me make sure I'm going back far enough here. So this is something we call a debris tracker. Let me see if I can get us back to. So I'm going to zoom into the tornado warning that was issued earlier. This was for parts of Park and Vermilion and Fountain counties. So what you're looking at, the radar can pick up on debris. And if you'll notice that little donut hole there, that might be, we'll have to get some confirmation tomorrow. That may have been a tornado. But look how quickly, you know, it formed and diminished. Okay. And so you talked about how, you know, how brief in nature that they can be. And so, and the problem is with the storm speeds that we have tonight, 55, 60 miles per hour, it's conceivable that sometimes we may get a tornado in a couple of radar scans and then it's gone after 2 or 3 scans because it's moving so quickly and they're not staying on the ground, at least locally, long.
Yeah, and that's what makes this setup kind of tricky, just because you look at the radar and you go, or you look at the TV, I don't have any tornado warnings, I can go to bed. Well, we just don't want you to completely let your guard down. Even if these spin up quick and they dissipate quickly, still has the potential to do some damaging winds. And as Sean was pointing out, that debris, that could be anything from some trees, it could be, you know, shingles off a roof, it could be picking up anything other than the raindrops, and that's what the radar is seeing as far as that debris tracker goes. So this is a view on live Doppler 13 radar. I had somebody ask, they were a little nervous about the weather where they are. So I'm just going to give everybody an update. How about that? That way, and then I can answer a few questions after. But let's just start with the good news. No tornado warnings. The bad news, we still have a couple of clusters of storms, and with the environment that we're in, it won't take much for a quick spin up of a tornado or a damaging wind gust that's not rotating that could be 60, 70 miles per hour. So let's go north first, and we'll just go north to south and get everybody covered. So let's go first to Logansport. Severe storm potential. You're under a severe thunderstorm warning, Logansport, and that warning will go until 1:15. Peru, you're also under a severe thunderstorm warning until 1:15, along with Wabash. So that covers the northern part of our area. We're just going to slide south. Strongest storms over Logansport and Deer Creek right now. We've got another cluster that's now east of Kokomo, east of Frankfort, but moving quickly toward Tipton. What you need to do is, if you live in Marion, Gas City, Fairmount, Elwood, Tipton, you need to look at yourself and go, okay, now I see what's west of me. All of that is moving your way. So get ready, Marion, Gas City, Fairmount, Elwood, Cicero, Tipton, Sheridan. Sheridan, you will be first as that line is quickly approaching with the potential for damaging winds. Strongest part of the cell is over Lebanon. While we're here, we'll check that shear rate. And yeah, that's one of the stronger signatures I've seen this evening. So Lebanon, the rest of Boone County, take this storm seriously. Really may have some damaging winds with this. It's not setting up to be a rotation necessarily, but when we get some brighter green and some brighter red kind of parallel to each other, that also indicates strong winds and damaging wind potential. So please keep that in mind if you live in Boone County. So I would say Boone County, that by far is one of our strongest storms. And where that one is going to go is through Lebanon and then up towards Sheridan and maybe even Tipton. So if you live in those areas, just stay weather aware. The strongest part of this line of storms is moving your way. Let's come out a bit. Non-severe, but the storms extend back to near Rockville and just north of there and back into parts of Vermilion County. Let's come back toward downtown Indianapolis. Non-severe but heavy rain. We'll go east, Winchester, south to Economy, northwestern Wayne County, Richmond. You've got some lightning overhead and some heavy rain. Raining in Newcastle, Shelbyville, Rushville. You've got rain and storms, non-severe at this point, and another strong storm, Greensburg, south to Seymour, into Brownstown, all tracking off to the north and east. So where these go next? Brookville. Columbus, you're just north of kind of that line of stronger storms at this point. But by far, if we put our shear rate back on there, by far the most severe that we're seeing is with that storm in Lebanon right now. So we encourage you to take shelter. Again, not showing any significant signs of rotation with this one, but just be aware it won't take much with the wind environment that we have in place to have a storm go from a severe thunderstorm warning to perhaps something rotating. Okay, I think we got everybody covered, but let me see if I have any questions. How many tornadoes have touched down or how confirmed?
That's going to be difficult.
Sean says that's going to be difficult.
Yeah, just because the go to links to friends if we can.
Oh yeah, because he's going to put up storm reports for you.
Hang on for a moment. So these are tornado reports, and what we're not going to know without some detailed storm surveys. Is this one continuous tornado? Are there multiple tornadoes, which is a possibility? And that's why I say it's going to be difficult to understand. But these are also tornado reports around St. Louis, a lot of wind reports. There's some other tornado reports there south of Champaign. So at minimum, we have had, this is a long track supercell. In fact, we'll go back about 6 hours here. So this supercell started near Jonesboro. Actually, that's 6
Oh my
hours.
gosh! So you're into Arkansas.
So we're in the Little Rock. All right.
Jeez.
So and so it goes through Jonesboro. Okay. Now again, is this the same tornado? It's very possible. It's possible this was a long, I'm telling you, some of the radar imagery that I've seen with this storm, it's just been jaw-dropping. From meteorologically speaking, fascinating, but also gut-punching because you know that it's causing hurt and pain on a lot of people here, on all these cities that it's impacting.
Yeah, and cities taking direct hits.
Yes.
And basically, you answered. Well, I forget her name. She was talking about that cell that has the potential to still be on the ground across parts of Kentucky.
Yeah, this is the Louisville radar here, and so I kind of know this area. So there's my hometown, by the way, Valley Station. That's why I may have to call my mom again and get her ready for this if it holds together. This is the debris tracker, and yep, sadly. And there's the.
Oh, wait 1 sec. Let's put links to up. There you go.
Yeah, so there's the debris tracker. Here's the rotating column. That's what we call the shear marker. I'm going to turn these markers off, and I'm going to tilt this. So here's Elizabethtown. You may have watched that movie, E-Town. So that's the debris. That's the debris with the tornado that has been seemingly going continuous through Kentucky. Yeah. So, and if you notice the blue up here, so what's going on? That's what we call debris fallout. So the tornado is probably, let me grab my, the tornado's probably here, but the upper level wind is blowing the debris northward.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's, Hardinsburg's getting, who knows what's falling in Hardinsburg right now. Shingles, pieces of a fence, things like that. So, no, I switched radars. I apologize. But so that is still going. It's still, there's not a whole lot to block the inflow into this storm, and locally for us at this time, as we've kind of talked about here, we have what we call just more of a messier storm mode. So if we just had these cells by themselves across southern Indiana, we probably would have many more tornado warnings. Thankfully, that is not the case.
Yeah.
I would love if we can make it through this whole night with no damage. But we still have a ways to go. The atmosphere is becoming more volatile, and we're also getting into between now and say about 5-6 a.m. is going to be the strongest low-level wind field, and that will definitely keep us monitoring radar closely, because what's going to happen here is that this part of the line that's near Terre Haute, as it starts to move east, it's going to interact with that strengthening wind field. So, and hey, bottom line is we can still get some 70+ mile per hour gust, and I don't care what's doing the damage. If that's knocking trees down into homes, that's a problem.
It is, and as much damage as a low-end tornado could do.
Correct.
So we don't need to necessarily, say it's not as bad, because it can be just as bad, if not worse. We don't have to have a tornado to produce damage that a tornado can do. We can have severe thunderstorm wind gusts. Okay, Ashley has waited patiently. She wants an update on Greenwood. So I am going to give you an update on Greenwood. Ashley, thank you for hanging with us. And the good news, if I haven't mentioned you, it's probably because it's pretty quiet, but I am going to point out Greenwood. Ashley, we appreciate you again with us and hanging on. You do have some heavier rain to your south at this point. Nothing severe over Johnson County, nothing severe over Morgan County. But as I come out a little bit, I do want to point out what's approaching Terre Haute. As Sean mentioned, we're not done. We still have several hours of storms to get through. So Ashley asked about Greenwood. Greenwood, if you basically draw a line west, what you see west of you, west of Terre Haute, will eventually work its way east. This line eventually works west to east across the entire state. So I know you're tired. I know you might want to go to bed. Yeah. If you want to, close your eyes and just make sure you have a way that you can be alerted if a warning is issued for your area. Also had several questions about Fishers and Carmel. Also nothing severe. It's northwestern Hamilton County that's under the severe thunderstorm warning until 1 a.m. That includes the strong storm that is now coming east of Lebanon. It's southeast of Frankfort and still west of Tipton and east of Kokomo. That's kind of the strongest part of this storm at this point. And as we check our shear rate, again, a fairly strong signature that we have some strong winds with this, potential damaging winds with that storm. Yes.
If they want to go back to links too, this might help a little bit. So this is Future Track 13 with the severe weather outlook. Now, it just gives you an idea of the passage of the front.
Okay.
Okay. So that's around 3:30. Okay. And then, once we get to, even once we get closer to 4, because you want to be on the western, you want to be on the back side of the line. Now, it's kind of a catch-22, as you mentioned, though. Tomorrow, we're still going to have some pretty significant wind gust. We're probably going to have some 50-mile-per-hour gust tomorrow outside of these storms. But this is just kind of a gauge of the line getting into the metro area within the hour, and then getting out of most of our viewing area by 4:30.
And I think that's very helpful. So if you're watching, if you can, look at your hometown and go, okay, there's my hometown, there's the timeline. I still have a couple of hours to get through, and unfortunately, it is going to be a long night. As we've pointed out, the good news right now, nothing tornadic. The bad news, we're still dealing with an environment that has a setup that a quick spin up is possible with some of the severe storms. Even if you don't get a rotating storm, a 60, 70 mile per hour wind gust will be unfortunately just enough to do some damage. I'm going to take just like a minute or two break, and if we can at the top of the hour do a quick update on Channel 13 just to get everyone kind of caught up, and then we'll be back with you. Good early Saturday morning. I'm meteorologist Angela Buckman.
Sean Ash.
It's a late night, early morning.
I think maybe.
It's a day off for you, so
That's
thank
all
you
right.
very much
Yeah,
for coming in.
no,
And
yeah, look, I mean, I think this is probably our best case scenario for us, the way this thing's playing out
So
here.
far.
So far. We're not out of the woods. We still have a ways to go. What is it, 1 o'clock? I think we still have another probably 3 hours before we can sound the all clear.
Yes, so that means you're going to want to stay with us. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning, and it's a long warning, including several counties. This goes until 1:30, and it does include those of you in Boone County, in Lebanon, back west through Montgomery County, including Crawfordsville, northern sections of Putnam County. Again, new severe thunderstorm warning until 1:30. Northwestern sections of Hamilton County up into Tipton, Elwood, you're now under it, eastern sections of Howard County. This by far is the strongest complex of storms, and we've been tracking this with our shear detector. And just what you want to look for here is areas of green showing that weak shear, but we also have some embedded areas of stronger shear, which indicate the potential for damaging wind gusts. We are still technically under that tornado watch from Indianapolis south and west that goes until 3 a.m. The eastern half of the state was added from the Storm Prediction Center until 6 a.m. And even though we're not dealing with any tornado warnings at this point, this type of activity can quickly produce a tornado with little or no warning. So we want to continue to make sure that you stay weather aware. We're going to get you caught up on all of the storms, and then Sean's going to give you an idea of just how long this is going to last. So we're north. Here's Wabash, here's Peru, under severe thunderstorm warnings. These will eventually work their way off to the east into Warren and Van Buren. Marion, you've got some heavy rain approaching, not under a severe thunderstorm warning, but if you look just to your west, a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings and that stronger complex of storms that's over Greentown right now. It is in Greentown, east of Kokomo, moving east toward Marion, Hartford City. Eventually, Fairmount, you will be in the path. Right now, the heaviest is just south of Sharpsville, moving quickly into Tipton with the potential for some damaging winds. It's headed toward Atlanta, Arcadia, Cicero. It's over Sheridan now, but tracking off to the east-northeast. We also extend south and west and pick up Lebanon, Newmarket, Ladoga, again, all under that new severe thunderstorm warning until 1:30. We've got some rain downtown Indianapolis, non-severe. We've had several folks on Facebook Live watching from Greenwood, several areas up toward Fishers and Carmel. Again, nothing severe at this point, but we continue to track some heavy rain and some gusty storms. South into Seymour, so we're south of Columbus along Interstate 65, over toward North Vernon, south of Greensburg, and then into the eastern part of the state. Here's Brookville and Franklin County. Connorsville, you've got a storm. Liberty, just rain now. Rain in Cambridge City, Economy, and Richmond, and then north through Winchester we pick up Portland, Hartford City, and Muncie. Pretty quiet, but we want to make sure that what you see from your hometown and you look west, all of that is moving our way. The tornado watch was extended, or we added a new watch technically for the eastern part of the state until 6 a.m. and this is what we have to get through. Tornado warnings continue across parts of Kentucky and Tennessee. Those will stay off to our south and east, but it's this line, Sean, that you're tracking, and folks want to know how much longer are we going to be dealing with this severe threat?
That's it. And so we're going to use Future Track 13 here to kind of give you an idea of how this is going to play out. It's doing a pretty decent job of location of that line. Not going to be exact here, but bottom line, it should get into the metro area. Roughly within the hour, and then gets east of the metro by 3 a.m. Now, once we get on the back side of that line, from west to east, the risk of severe weather will go down, okay? I'm not saying wind, because we're going to have wind tomorrow, by the way, non-thunderstorm, but once we get past 5, 6 in the morning, that wind is going to be shifting directions, and then it's going to be becoming colder, and we're still going to probably have some 50-mile-per-hour gusts. So that risk, by the way, that risk area you're looking at, that's since we're at 1 in the morning, we're under the risk now. The maps kind of changed a little bit, but at any rate, 3 a.m. is roughly the timeline in Indy when things should start to move east. And by 4 a.m., I think most of this is going to be getting out of the state here.
We know it makes for a long night, so if you're sleepy and you just kind of want to go to bed, we get it.
Yep.
If you don't, we continue to do live updates here on Channel 13
Yeah.
and Facebook Live. We've also been monitoring, and it's a story that will continue to develop. Unfortunately, devastating tornadoes moving through Arkansas, Missouri,
Yeah.
Kentucky, and Tennessee.
And looks like get the storm report there out of Owen County. Yeah, there are links to there. Looks like 4 trees down. That was from about an hour ago.
Okay.
The cell that you were talking about, there's a professor of meteorology over in Illinois. 8 hours ago, he tweeted a radar imagery of a cell in Arkansas and said this storm initiation in the open
8
warm
hours.
in the open warm sector, and that is what unfortunately became a historic supercell that caused all of these tornado reports beginning near Jonesboro, Arkansas, still prompting a tornado warning south of Louisville.
Okay.
So, but for us right now, we still have the wind potential, and we still are going to monitor it because the wind environment that these storms are going to be encountering here, rather robust. So we're not out of the woods yet, and keep in mind, wind damage is wind damage, whether it's from a straight line or if it's from a tornado.
Sure. So we will continue to keep you updated, Sean and myself, for the next couple of hours. And this continuing coverage will go all the way through sunrise with Lindsay. That starts at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Hey, Facebook friends, I'm meteorologist Angela Buckman. We got Channel 13 caught up with a live update shortly after 1 a.m. So we thought we'd get back on and stay with you over the next couple of hours off and on, just to make sure we get through the next couple of hours and that you know what's coming into your neighborhood. So far, so good in terms of tornado warnings. What we're dealing with are severe thunderstorm warnings, but kind of what we've talked about already tonight. It doesn't have to be a tornado, doesn't have to be a tornado warning to do damage. These winds have the potential to be 60, 70 mile per hour, even if they're not associated with a tornado and strictly associated with severe thunderstorms. Boy, oh boy, do we have lots of warnings to cover. So I'm going to start east. We'll pick up Marion and Muncie first because these are a couple of the new warnings. Oh, darn it. Hang on. Let me get back here. All right. Now I'm going to have to click the right button. There we go. Okay. So this is one of the new warnings. Marion, Gas City, Fairmount, Hartford City. So Grant and Blackford counties, severe thunderstorm warning until 2 a.m. South of there, Muncie, you are now under a severe thunderstorm warning until 2:15. That's also going to include Anderson and a good part of Hamilton County south of Cicero. And the reason for these new warnings, this cluster of storms that right now is over Marion, south to Elwood, right now near Cicero. All tracking off to the east northeast. They've been going 50, 55 miles per hour at times tonight. And let me just really quick double check the movement of those and how quickly they're moving from the National Weather Service. And again, thinking that these have the potential to put down 60 mile per hour winds, maybe even higher as they move off to the east northeast. So just be aware that we do have some new warnings. And let's see here. So 60 mile per hour wind gust is what they're moving east at 45. Okay, so we're now starting to kind of transition from these individual storms moving northeast to more of the line itself making its move west to east. And what we'll do is we'll put a couple storm tracks on here. Moving east at 45, I'm just going to do the whole line. So it's in Marion, about to Fairmount, it's over Elwood and into Cicero. Let's track it east at like 45 miles per hour. Frankton, you got a couple minutes. Summitville, you've got 3. Alexandria, 6. Gaston, 16. Hartford City, less than 20. So some times of arrival for this complex of storms that has prompted a new severe thunderstorm warning for those of you in Muncie. Anderson, that warning will go until 2:15. Let's slide south along this line. Not quite as intense, but Sheridan, Lebanon, you've got some heavy rain, at least till maybe some damaging wind gusts. And then this really has strengthened in the last few minutes or so. Crawfordsville, south of you, right over Rockville, into Clinton and approaching Terre Haute. Again, the line itself is now starting to make that move to the east. And as we've been monitoring these storms, we've been keeping a close eye on the velocities that show potential rotation and really not seeing that. If you look at the red and green, instead of them being kind of like coupled together, it's more in this linear fashion, still indicating the potential for damaging wind gusts. And with little or no warning, because of the wind environment we have in place, we still may see a storm rotate. But for now, this appears to be more of a damaging wind event with a potential for 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. And we can also detect that with our shear detector. And we're seeing that some of the higher returns with this right over Rockville, and that's going to be across the southern sections of Park County. And by far, that is our strongest cell at this point. So those of you east of there, this is what's coming your way. So let's go back close just so you have an idea. Okay, so we had some Facebook friends earlier asking about Greencastle. Been pretty quiet, Greencastle, but what you see just to your west now is moving your way. It's going to start to slide east at about 45 miles per hour and make a move into Clay, Owen, Putnam counties in the next half hour, 45 minutes or so, and continue to move east toward the downtown Indianapolis area. Martinsville, you should be in the path along with Plainfield and Brownsburg with another wave of storms. And then north, so Hartford City, you're pretty quiet. Muncie, you're pretty quiet. Anderson too, but what's in Marion and Elwood eventually will move east and make its way your way. So we are not done with the threat for severe weather. Technically still under a tornado watch from Indianapolis southwest until 3 a.m. goes until 6 a.m. for the eastern part of the state. And Sean earlier was showing something that's pretty helpful, and basically it's Future Track 13 and showing the movement of these storms. And actually, I'm going to change this quickly. Sean, unless you have it up.
Stand by.
Okay, I'll let him do it. Just so we can kind of get you quickly caught up, just so you're aware of what we're dealing with. And this large view of the radar shows two real distinct lines of thunderstorms. It's been a little more devastating south across Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Kentucky. And I'll let you do it. So is it on 2?
Yeah. So
okay.
It's on 2. All right. So this is modeled radar, but it's doing a pretty good job of where the storms are right now, and with the movement. So the line that you were pointing out west of Indy will be in the city around 2 a.m. It'll be east of the city and the metro area around 3. Once we get west and north of this line, the threat for severe weather in your area is over, okay? But notice at 3 a.m., Richmond, Connersville, Seymour, Columbus still in play. And along this line, the potential for not only wind damage, but also that we could have rotation embedded within this, which could enhance the wind potential and also produce tornadoes. So so now we're getting closer to 4:30. All right. So between now and then, that's kind of the timeline here. So, and I want to go back to live Doppler 13 radar here and just point something out. So I was just doing some off-air analysis. The low-level wind field in advance, and not only the low-level wind field, but also the spin potential is getting amplified in this zone here. All right, so I suspect this thing is going to hold its own. It's not going to weaken, despite the fact that we're after 1 a.m. on a December morning. This thing is going to hold its own, and it is going to likely produce some pockets of damage, and we'll still have to keep a close eye out on, potential of getting some spins on this thing too.
Yeah, and we still, as you pointed out, have several hours to get through. So if you happen to be up on an early Saturday morning and are with us on Facebook Live, I'm going to take a couple questions. We can help you out on if you've got, where you are, you have questions. What I find fascinating about this storm, and whenever you're ready, we can go back to Links 1. We've got the severe threat on the warm side of this, and then heavy snow falling and winter storm warnings on the cold side of this storm. That's what they're dealing with in Minneapolis and across parts of Iowa. We'll take a couple questions. North side of Marion, power went out but came back in like 30 seconds. So that's from Jamie. Thanks for the report. And power flickering in Hartford City. That one coming from Holly. Thank you so much. And we didn't have any major power outages. Sean checked Duke Energy just a little while ago, but some spotty outages, and we may see some additional. Now that we've had some rain and the ground is wet and we have maybe some 60, 70 mile per hour winds moving through the next couple of hours, we may see some additional power outages.
8,900 as of right now.
8,900. Okay, yeah. So that's a little more. All right, so power outages are going to be an issue, which, if you were with us during our early evening newscast, we were talking about all these ways to prepare, to make sure you have extra batteries, make sure your cell phone is charged, all of those things that in case the power does go out, that you're prepared for maybe a couple of hours without it. Noblesville out of the woods. No. In fact, we are I hate to say we're just beginning, but we kind of are. We've been dealing with off and on storms for, well, I guess since about 10:30, 11 o'clock, so about 3 hours now. But if you look at radar, and we have this line that's kind of curving through the state from Marion to, I guess it's now over Lebanon. Well, Lebanon, you've been getting hit hard for the last hour or so, and it kind of snakes back through Terre Haute. That has to push all the way across the state for us to be out of the woods. Can I say Lafayette's out of the woods? Probably. Benton County? Sure. Warren County? Sure. Northwestern part of the state? Yes. But anywhere east, if you are looking at this line of storms and your hometown is east of it, you are not out of the woods. So we definitely still have more storms to get through. Let's see here. Elizabethtown, safe to sleep. I know most of you just want to go to bed. I would say sleep if you want. Just make sure that your ringer is on and that you have a way to get a warning and to wake you up if in fact we get a couple of tornado warnings. As Sean pointed out, we're not done with what's causing that tornadic potential as far as the wind energy, the instability, the moisture that's moved into central Indiana, and the wind field itself. It has set up so that it promotes rotation within these storms automatically because you have winds changing direction as you go up in the atmosphere. So we're not done with that. And even if we don't get tornadoes, we still may have some wind damage with thunderstorms, 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. So I'd love to tell you all to go to bed, but if you're worried about it, then just kind of wait it out. Had a couple of Hendricks County questions. Hendricks County, you're going to get it in the next, oh boy, maybe half hour, 45 minutes, because what you see west of you. So here is, since I've had a couple of questions about Hendricks County. So here is Hendricks County here, and you're quiet, but Brownsburg, Avon, Danville, Clayton, Plainfield, Coatesville, what you see west of you is coming your way. And really kind of it has intensified, especially in this area south of Newmarket. While we're here, we'll just check velocities.
Yeah, near Rosedale.
Okay.
If you go near Rosedale, there's, looks like there's a little, well, I got to change my.
Rochdale?
Rose.
Rose.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Okay.
No, don't go to 2.
Don't go to 2. He's doing some
phone.
analysis himself.
We're getting a bad frame here.
Yes, on radar. I agree.
I don't know why they're. Yeah, but near Rosedale, there is a little bit of rotation. And that's why they mentioned in that particular polygon, they have it as tornado possible.
Okay.
So.
Okay, that's a good thing to keep in mind. And obviously that's the strongest part of this line of storms. We still have warnings for east of Marion approaching Hartford City. So if you're Hartford City, Gaston, Eaton, eventually Muncie, this is kind of coming your way. It's basically over Summitville, Alexandria, Frankton now, and will continue to move east. So eventually into Anderson, Middletown, Mount Pleasant, Parker City, Muncie, Eaton mentioned you. But by far, the strongest is what Sean was pointing out here in the western part of the state. And that is going to be our primary concern for anything that may do a little more significant damage or may quickly rotate. Storms are in Newmarket, Rockville, and there's Rosedale. Sorry, I was thinking Rochdale. So there's Rosedale, and Sean was saying there might be a little bit. Let's see if the frames have kind of figured themselves out. Okay, there they are. So what he was noticing, and there is a little pocket there. And I think it's just indicative that, again, the low-level wind field and the spin in the atmosphere in advance of this is keeps ramping up. So it's not going to shock us if we do along this as it kind of bows out, if we get something that may try to tighten up a little bit and touch down on us, if you will. Okay, so that we're going to be obviously watching that very closely. And we have several hours still to get through is the best advice for you. See, Janelle was asking about Terre Haute. Yes, there's a strong storm right over Terre Haute now with potential for damaging winds and heavy rain. Martinsville, you're clear, yes, now. But based on radar, again, the best thing I can tell you to do is find your hometown on the map and then look west. Whatever's west of you is coming your way. And we've got several hours before this completely clears the state. It probably won't be until 4, 5, 6 in the morning. And so even though it's kind of quieted down, Indianapolis, Franklin, Greenwood, Martinsville, Bloomington, what's west of you, we still have to make it through the next couple of hours. Power out in Rushville. So Kara, thank you for that report. Lawrence County, you're quiet now, but again, you still have storms to get through this evening. Or I guess it's morning, Saturday morning. Over Miami County, of course. So Miami County, what's good news for you, Miami County, and that's up north, your severe threat is starting to diminish. You've got the majority of the heavy storms now east of you, Peru, Denver, Bunker Hill, Erie, and so your severe threat is beginning to diminish. Peru, Logansport, Deer Creek, Royal Center, so areas north and west where the cluster has kind of already moved through, your severe threat is beginning to diminish. So that is some good news for Miami County. How long for Rushville? So it still looks like you've got an hour, maybe Rushville or more. Let's just map it out. So they've been tracking these storms at about 45 miles per hour moving east.
Yeah, probably
a little
probably
faster now?
Probably between 2:30 and 3.
Okay. So
give or take, and give or take.
He says give or take.
Keep our options open now.
Okay. So, you know, as we move into Shelby and Rush counties, we're still 70, 80 miles away or so. And so we're still looking at an hour and a half. So that's why he was saying, 2:30 or 3. And then it should be into the eastern part of the state by 3, 4, 5 in the morning. So some great questions. We just appreciate you up early on a Saturday, late Friday night. Please check Anderson, of course. Let's do that for you. That is Brandy checking in from Anderson. And you have a storm north of you, and you are under a severe thunderstorm warning. Winds are probably starting to pick up, Anderson, and you do have some rain moving back in, and the threat for severe winds. That's the biggest threat for you at this point, Anderson. I think I covered Martinsville is not clear. Anywhere northwest of the line, you're clear as far as your severe threat diminishing. So Lafayette, Attica, Logansport, Delphi, Monticello, everybody else still dealing with this. Now I know I'm getting a bunch of questions about Anderson. Some sirens going off in Anderson. Sometimes that happens when we're under a tornado watch and a severe thunderstorm warning is issued. So that could be the reason, and or an emergency manager or law enforcement or somebody from the fire department perhaps saw something. Let me check the chat real quick.
Yeah,
You're not seeing anything?
I'm not seeing anything.
Okay. It's just sometimes that happens, depending.
Now, excuse me, EM and from Rush County is saying multiple trees and power lines down in Rush County. So that could have been from the batch earlier.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. Colleen, I do have a quick question that we're going to share with our Facebook friends. Are we allowed to stream both at the same time and still take the Facebook questions, but cover what's happening if you're at home is our rebroadcast of our 11 o'clock news is on Channel 13 now, and it obviously is old. So we would like to give the people on Channel 13 an update. So I can either go on Channel 13 and do all of that. If we can't simulcast, we can do at the same time. Okay, so do you want to stop down and do that, or you just want to join in progress? And good morning. I'm meteorologist Angela Buckman. Obviously, we know that the rebroadcast of our 11 o'clock news is on Channel 13. I'm still in the building. Sean's in the building. We have producers, directors in the building as well. So we just thought we might as well just keep you updated on what's going on right now, rather than have you watch something that's old. We are not done with the risk for severe weather. The good news, we don't have any significant reports coming out of central Indiana as far as damage. It is a completely different story across parts of Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, and Tennessee. They've been dealing with devastating tornadoes. That is going to be a story that we will be following. It will make national news in the coming days, unfortunately. What we do have locally, several severe thunderstorm warnings, and because of the wind field still in play, the instability, the moisture that's made its way, the Gulf moisture that's made its way this far north in December, we still have the potential that a couple of these severe storms may rotate. So we're going to get you caught up on all of the severe thunderstorm warnings, and we're going to start north and east, and then we'll quickly move down this line. These are severe thunderstorm warnings, which is good news, not tornado warnings, but wind damage is wind damage, whether it comes from a severe storm or a tornado, and that is our main concern at this hour. Storms Hartford City, Gaston, Alexandria, and Frankton. Where do they go next? Let's put a storm track on this, and we will just kind of time it out for you. I went a little far, but they've been moving 45 to 50, 55 miles per hour, but this will give you kind of who's in the path. Eaton, Yorktown, Pennville, Ball State, Muncie in 14 minutes, Greene in 17 minutes, Red Key in 16. So this line will move east in the next 10 to 20 minutes over the next couple of counties. So if you are in this area and Muncie, you're saying, okay, it's pretty quiet now. Yes, it is quiet now, but you do have some storms not too far away. Let's move down the line. Non-severe here. Sheridan, I'm a little surprised we don't have anything for this cluster. Technically, Lebanon to Ladoga, we've got some higher returns showing up on live Doppler 13 radar, and we've been monitoring velocities. And if you've watched any of our severe weather coverage, when we have a little red and green close together, kind of looks, they're kind of two little dots, or they can be several dots in green, several dots of red close together. That oftentimes indicates rotation. Doesn't always mean there's a tornado, but it does indicate that the storm has the potential to produce a tornado. What we're seeing with velocities now, a little more linear, which is good news, but still may have some strong to damaging winds coming out of these storms. One other thing we can check is the shear rate or shear detector. And what you want to look for here, green and these little spikes of red. And I guess we're not seeing much Lebanon to Ladoga, but we are in the warning area, and that warning will be in effect for parts of Putnam County, and that goes until 2 a.m., parts of Park, so south of Rockville, and then into Brazil, so Clay County, and then west into Vigo County. Greencastle, this storm is moving your way. While we're on this, I'll do another storm track, and we'll just, again, time this kind of out to the east at about 45 miles per hour or so. Bainbridge in 9 minutes, Greencastle in 11, Fillmore in 18. So we had some of our Facebook friends asking about Hendricks County, just because things had quieted down. Is it over? Well, no, not quite over, because what is making its way into Greencastle will eventually move into parts of Hendricks County, so into Danville, Brownsburg, Avon, and then downtown Indianapolis eventually as well. And one thing we've been keeping an eye on, and Sean Ash has been doing this, is, okay, how much longer are we going to be dealing with the line of storms, and when is it going to make my hometown? Yeah. And Future Track 13, Sean, is a great resource for that. Yeah, pop it up there on links too. In fact, let me, because I want to, while we have people's attention, we need to talk about what's to come here later this day. So here we are, current time with modeled radar, but it's matching up very well with what's going on here. So this is at 3 a.m.
Now again, if you're north and west of the main line, the threat of severe weather starts to end. So around 3 o'clock, Indy's going to be done. Lafayette, you're going to be done here. In fact, I would argue you're probably done with severe weather now. You may still hear the thunder in the distance. So this still puts Muncie, Farmland, Rushville, Greensburg, Seymour, North Vernon, Batesville, Columbus still in play. Bloomington by 3 should be on the back side of this, okay? And then once we get to, let's say 4:30, the majority of our viewing area is going to be done. Now, we want you to get prepared for what's going to become, because we're going to be in the 60s this morning. By 10 o'clock, temperatures are going to fall rapidly into the 30s. Ooh. Wind chill will be in the 20s for the better part of your Saturday. And in addition, it's possible we could have some non-thunderstorm gust on the backside of this over 50 miles per hour. So that could also put power outages in play, especially after the rain we've had. So this is going to be a wild day. We're monitoring the severe threat now, but you got to be prepared for what's to come. But right now, it's outside. It is a tropical feel. One of the, our dew point, it got up to 62. You can count on one hand in Indianapolis how many December days we've had with a dew point that high. And that's what's helped fuel these things in addition to the very strong wind field. But, and you mentioned this, and we've said it a few times tonight, I think we have fared so much better than our friends south of us. And this was the best case scenario for us, I think, for tonight, the way this thing is playing out.
I would agree. Sorry, I'm answering a few comments on Facebook Live as we're kind of simulcasting this. We're going to take a quick break here in about 20 seconds and let our commercials run on Channel 13. But don't go anywhere. Keep the questions coming. We'll try to answer as many as we possibly can because, as Sean pointed out, anywhere east of the line, you're still dealing with a threat for severe weather that will go until 3, 4, 5 in the morning before it's completely done. Stick with us.
Yeah, we're here.
Sean's here.
Yeah, if you want, hey, if you want to answer some questions, I'll pop mess around. Yeah, do we have links 2 up?
Yeah, it is up now,
Okay.
and I would say most of our questions are, when is it going to be over?
Yeah. So, and again, I'll turn the lightning on because, but here's the deal. So Kokomo, Logansport, Frankfort, Lafayette, done. Doesn't mean you're not going to hear that thunder. Metro's still in play. We still have to, keep tabs on this stuff that's moving in. Anderson, Muncie, obviously still in place under a warning here. And then Bloomington, Bedford, Seymour until we can get this line through here. Okay, so, and as I look at, this is what we call our shear detector. So this, basically what it does, it cleans up the velocity of a radar and just kind of says, hey, this is the areas you should look for more turbulent wind potential. And that's currently through Brazil, near Bainbridge, Rochdale. So we could get some new severe thunderstorm warnings that may actually go into Hendricks County here shortly. All right. Not seeing anything from a rotation standpoint, which is good. We just want to get rid of this bad boy as soon as we can. But again, the severe weather, north of this line, and let me put it into motion over the last half hour. North of the line, you're done. So you can start to see these counties over in Illinois. They'll start to drop these counties from the tornado watch in west central Indiana here shortly. Now, of course, the watch in the eastern half of the state technically goes until 6 a.m. And if you've been following the weather at all this evening, there was, as I put the storm reports up, let me switch over to the Louisville. Actually, let me call up the national mosaic here. So you'll see these tornado reports. And unfortunately, at this hour, so the lead supercell is the one there that's near Louisville. It looks like they're issuing some new warnings for that. I'm going to go back 8 hours on this. Go all the way back. So we're back 8 hours, and watch this storm come out of Arkansas here, go through the Boot Hill of Missouri, and impacted northwest Tennessee, then got into Kentucky, hit towns like Maysville and Benton, and I think it went through Madisonville, near Madisonville, now south of Louisville. And now what's going on, so the southern portion, this new line, new tornadoes are forming.
And that's obviously a big concern. And welcome back to those of you on Channel 13. Sean and myself getting you through some severe storms. Lindsay, I hear, is in the building. Hello. She's just back from vacation.
Welcome back.
I don't know that she slept. She landed from somewhere, I hope, tropical. Miami, that's tropical.
Yeah. She brought these dew points with her then, yeah?
So she's in the building as well. We just want to make sure we get you through the next couple of hours, and with the threat for severe storms still continuing. And obviously on Channel 13, we're continuing to cover our old newscast that aired at 11 o'clock because we don't want you watching something old. We want to make sure that you're caught up on exactly what's happening now. I've had several questions about different communities, Newcastle, Greenwood, Hendricks County.
Well, they just issued a new warning for Hendricks that we were just talking about.
Okay,
yeah.
So let's go ahead and put a timeline on that new warning. And what Sean was pointing out, and the best way we can tell you is look at radar, pick your hometown. Am I in Shelbyville? Am I in Rushville? Am I in Liberty? Am I in Muncie? Fishers, Morgantown, Martinsville, Bloomington, Columbus, you name it. If you are east of this line, the threat for severe weather is not over. We've been lucky so far. Most of our warnings have been severe thunderstorm warnings. We had a couple of cells hint at rotation very early on in our coverage in the western part of the state in Vermilion County. But since then, most of our storm warnings have been severe thunderstorm with the risk for 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, which, by the way, can do as much damage as a low-end tornado. Let's get you caught up on those new warnings that Sean pointed out. And these are going to be for the southern part of this kind of cluster of storms. So the warning for those of you in Brazil and Greencastle, that goes until 2 a.m. The new warning is going to include Rochdale, Bainbridge, so covering parts of Putnam County and then into Hendricks County until 2:15 as this storm kind of tracks off to the east. Are they still measuring about 45 miles per hour or so?
Generally, yeah.
Okay.
And the shear rate has gone up there just north of Bainbridge.
Okay, and so what Sean is mentioning, you see that little red spike? So that is our indication from live Doppler 13 radar of damaging wind potential, and still may rotate. And with a line of storms moving through the wind environment that we have in place, it wouldn't take much to get a quick spin up of a tornado. So that's still a concern. Let's put radar back on, and I'm going to time out. We'll just do a little kind of storm track on this cluster that's really bringing some heavy storms to Ladoga, Rochdale, and Bainbridge right now as it moves east at about 45. North Salem into you and right now, Liston in about 6 minutes, and then it's 14 minutes to Pittsburgh. So that would mean Danville, you're in the path in about 10 to 15, eventually into Avon, 15-20. Plainfield, you as well, in about a half hour, give or take. So just be aware that these storms continue and they are making their way off to the east. Let's slide north along the line. Heavy storms, Lebanon, they're moving toward Whitestown now. They're into Sheridan, Arcadia, Cicero. This is a warning. Alexandria, you've got storms south of you. Muncie, they're on the move into Delaware County, so be aware these storms are moving your way. Had questions about Kokomo being in the clear, Marion, Fairmount, and the answer is, for the most part, yes. Once you are west of this line, and I'm just going to put a circle, once you are west and northwest of this line, your severe threat diminishes dramatically. If you are east of this line, you're still under the threat for severe storms. We're going to take a couple of questions from a few of our Facebook friends that are watching. Let's see here. Westfield would like to know. Westfield, we have not mentioned you tonight, so I apologize for that. You have a line of storms. You can probably see the lightning there in the distance. So there's Carmel and there's Westfield. So Westfield, storms overhead basically. Strong winds, potential for damaging winds, heavy rain, and lots of lightning. Montgomery County is another one. We've mentioned you quite a bit tonight. It's been active for Montgomery County. But Crawfordsville, you're now sitting on the back side of really the primary threat for severe weather. Let's see here. Mooresville. Yeah, Mooresville, you're already on my map, Jason. You've got maybe a half hour-ish, 40 minutes or so, before you've got storms back into the area. And I know it got quiet because we had a couple of complexes move through, those moved out, and now we're kind of waiting on this final line, and that maybe has you thinking, okay, is it over? Well, not quite. Remember, you're not over yet until you are on the back side or the west side of this line of storms. Let's see here. I covered Montgomery, covered Westfield. Let's see here. Pretty bad in Rochdale. So yes, Pamela, thank you for checking in. That was one area that we were tracking with some kind of enhanced wind, an enhanced kind of wind profile. Winds picked up in Cicero. Pam, thank you for checking in. The Maconaquah High School area, that is up near Peru, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. In Miami County. Are you done? Yes. So your severe threat has diminished. And we're going to point out, and Lindsay's going to be covering this, considerably during the sunrise show. We're not done with the winds. As the colder air arrives, we may get some 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts, not associated with storms, but just associated with the cold air as it starts to move in. Thorntown's still raining, 29-mile-per-hour wind gusts, so that's below severe limits. That's good news. Nick, thanks for checking in. Susan wants to know, moving east or north with this second round? Great question, Susan. The line itself is moving east, so you will eventually see your severe threat end the farther west you are. So most of these storms, and you can see with the polygons and how the warnings are shaped, instead of them going northeast, they're moving due east. So a sign that the line itself is on the move. So that's a great question. Mobile home in Elwood and Madison County. Right now, you're below severe limits, which is good news. Living in a mobile home, living in an RV, you always want to make sure that you have a backup, that you have a place, whether it be a rec center in the community or the leasing office or something like that, that is a little more sturdy of a structure to get into if you would be under a bigger tornado threat. Right now, it's fairly low for those of you in Madison County, but thank you for reaching out. Is the second line growing stronger? Parts of it. I would say that central part of it is the strongest at this point, and that's the line that is moving now into Hendricks County and eventually back into downtown Indianapolis, and it's over Putnam County right now, including Greencastle. That's probably the strongest part of this line. Robert from Carmel checking in. Let's see here. Lightning and thunder in Tipton. Tipton, you're almost in the clear in terms of your risk for severe weather. Lizzie and Fairmount, yes, you are just about out of the woods as this starts to move south of you. Dawn giving us a shout out. Thank you so much. Colleen, was that a minute? Okay, thank you very much. So we're going to do another commercial break on Channel 13, but we'll keep it going here on Facebook Live. Rain and wind in the Lebanon area. Jennifer, thanks for checking in. Andrea gave a good point. You can also download the Red Cross Emergency app. I like the Live Doppler 13 weather app. It's really easy to use. Once you're there, all you have to do is click the little lines up in the left-hand part, and you go to Safety Net Alerts, And once you're there, it looks like a little teardrop or a raindrop, and you click on that and you can add all sorts of locations. I've got Purdue and Trine because I have kids up there. So we're going to take a quick break on Channel 13, but we'll continue on Facebook Live as we get you through the severe storms tonight. All righty, Facebook friends. Had a couple of questions that I don't think I've gotten to. Owen County was one as I look back, and in the clear, not yet. Live Doppler 13, minute 23, got it. Live Doppler 13 radar, by the way, really tells the story of where we have the storms. And if you see yourself east of it, you're still under the threat for severe storms. If you are west, Lafayette, Crawfordsville now in the clear, Frankfort, Delphi, Logansport, Monticello, Kokomo, Peru, Tipton, Marion, you're all in the clear as that severe threat is now making its way east-southeast. Latest on the warnings, we've got a couple of new ones, and we'll get you caught up on those. And they're basically for Hendricks County and really the strongest part of this storm that is near Greencastle right now and making its way east, Bainbridge and just east of Rochdale. So Coatesville, get ready, Danville, Brownsburg, Whitestown, Zionsville. You will be in the path next as the storm tracks off to the east. Still over Sheridan and Lebanon right now, but making its way east at about 45 miles per hour. So that covers that part and the warning. Oh, let me give you the times on those warnings. We'll go back quickly. So the times on these warnings, you've got just west of Brownsburg, a warning until 2:15, and that one is going to go until 2:30 for the southern part of Hendricks County. So covering the storms that are in Greencastle, Bainbridge now, that will move toward Coatesville, Danville, and Brownsburg. Eventually Avon, Plainfield next. And then eventually into downtown Indianapolis, we think. Sometime between 2:30 and 3, give or take, is the timeline. When we get back on Channel 13, we will have Sean do another update on exactly the timeline for when these storms clear the state. I know it's been a late night for a lot of you. If you're not comfortable with storms and you just like this to be over, it is going to be over, but we still probably have a couple of hours, give or take, before we're completely done with the severe threat for all of central Indiana. The good news, we're not detecting any significant areas of rotation in the stronger parts of these storms. One other thing we've been monitoring is the shear rate, and that by far is the strongest in that cluster that we were analyzing near Greencastle. So Brownsburg, Avon, Plainfield, heads up. Those storms may contain some stronger winds as we continue to make our way through this early Saturday morning. We are going to join Channel 13 now live. And welcome back. Again, we're covering an old newscast. It didn't make sense to us to have old weather information on there when we've got all sorts of people in the building tonight or this morning to keep you updated on the severe weather. And I'm making a switch, give Lindsay time to get caught up on just being back from vacation and prepare for the early part of her day, or the late part of her day. I'm not sure she got any sleep. But this is Live Doppler 13 radar. We continue to monitor a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings, especially west of Indianapolis. This is the strongest part of the line that's near Greencastle, Bainbridge now, moving into Coatesville, Danville, Brownsburg, Avon, Plainfield, even Zionsville and Whitestown will get in on the action in the next 10, 20 minutes or so. But on a bigger view, Sean, people are curious just how long this is going to stick around.
Yeah, we'll be wrapping it up here west to east here the next couple of hours. So let's show you Future Track 13. Again, doing a pretty good job there. It's at 2 in the morning, and that's by 3. So over the next hour, this thing is going to go from the west side of the metro to the east side.
And we will continue to keep you updated all morning long. Okay, we covered our old newscast, which aired at 11 o'clock last night. A minute.
Oh, wow.
A minute 51, so we're going to take a break and then so we got a little time. But we just obviously want to make sure that you're still kind of kept up to date just in case the threat for storms has you up early on this Saturday morning. And this is how Live Doppler 13 radar looks now. Sean was pointing out that it will be 3, 4 in the morning-ish, 5 before we're completely clear of this line of storms. So that gives us another couple of hours. Let's see. Michael wants to know what's going on between Terre Haute and Bloomington. Yes, there are storms. Michael, they're non-severe at this point. Newcastle in the clear. Mackenzie, no, you are not. You are east still of this line, so you're not in the clear. Anderson, nope, not quite yet. You still have maybe another hour or so, maybe a little longer, before the storms move completely off to your east. How long will the storms take to move through Yorktown? Jen wants to know that. You've got probably another 15, 20 minutes or so. What time will the temperature drop into the 30s? Miranda, great question. It's going to be a crazy day. We're in the 60s, right, Sean?
Yes,
Yes,
very much in the 60s.
Woo, we're in the 60s. It's December.
In fact, this is only the 4th day in December with a dew point of 62 degrees or higher since
Wow.
1942 in Indianapolis.
So this is, as we were kind of talking back and forth before the event, kind of unprecedented. It doesn't happen very often. Let's see. Bainbridge, you are close to being clear. I had a question about Newcastle, Columbus. No, you're not done yet. It will be closer to 4 a.m. for you. Lights flickering in Atlanta. That's in Hamilton County. Let's see. Henry County, you're not done yet. You've got some storms obviously still to your west. Let's see here. Ameriplex Parkway. So how long before? That's over by the airport, I believe. So you maybe have 20, 30 minutes or so. Cicero, you're not done. You've got some storms overhead. There are storms directly. Oh, Bill wants to know if the storms directly west are severe. And yes, they are under warnings. We're going to take a brief pause and then we've got. All right, welcome back, Channel 13. We've got about a minute, 45 seconds or so left of this final part that we wanted to make sure you had, live information on the weather that's happening now. This is Live Doppler 13 radar showing the storms. Couple of severe thunderstorm warnings just to the west of Indianapolis. And these will go for those of you just west of Brownsburg. Those are going to go until 2:15. And then the Coatesville, Greencastle area and southwestern Hendricks until 2:30. So what that means, if you are watching east, say Meridian Hills, Indianapolis, Beech Grove, it's probably going to be closer to 2:45-ish, maybe 3 o'clock before it makes its way completely across Marion County. We've had lots of questions on Facebook about Greenwood, Mooresville, anywhere east. You are still dealing with the threat for severe weather. That will include those of you in Shelbyville, Rushville, Newcastle, Richmond, Connorsville. It won't be until 3, 4, 5 a.m. until we're completely done with the line of storms. What really worked in our favor tonight is the fact that these developed in kind of clusters and lines versus individual storms. Sean's been pointing out the individual storms that developed across Arkansas. Reports of a couple of nursing homes hit. What may end up being a long track tornado that covered 4 states. Oh my God. And unfortunately, the damage to follow will be immense, and it's something that we will continue to follow over the next couple of days. But we did want to make sure that you had the latest information. Couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. Once we get to 3, 4, 5 in the morning, the severe threat will be over for everyone. We'll continue to keep you updated as needed.
I know. Mic check, weather mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm on links 2 again, by the way. Good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Lindsay Monroe. Right now, it's about 2:25 in the morning, and while this severe system is starting to wind down a bit, we still have one active warning. This was a new one that we want to keep you updated on. Right now, this is located in the northern extent of Marion County, over closer to Hamilton County. This was this new warning put into effect from the National Weather Service just a few moments ago. It's going to be in effect through 2:45 a.m. Let's zoom in and get you a closer look at what this storm is doing and where it's moving, where it's going. Right now, it's 65-mile-per-hour movement to the east. So it's tracking across Hamilton County now. You can see that polygon there that is highlighted. And this is because we've still got some strong wind gusts embedded within this line of storms moving through. Now, the good news is it does not have a widespread history of producing much wind damage, but it is still a possibility as we've got 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts within the leading edge of that line of storm. So I want you to be aware of this. It's still the only active warning we have is for Hamilton County, and that's going to be in effect until 2:45. It's also in effect for the very northernmost extent of Marion County. Again, 65-mile-per-hour track moving off to the east. So you can see a couple of cities that should be aware of some very strong wind gusts that are headed into their neighborhood. We're talking LaPel, Geist, Edgewood, near Fortville within the next 20 minutes or so, going to be getting in on the leading edge of this storm line. Now, this storm system has a history of producing tornadoes to our south. We're so in that threat where we're watching those damaging wind gusts as that primary threat at this point. And this storm system, as you can see, it's tracking off from the west to the east. And as we sit at 66 degrees right now, that's going to drastically change as much colder air moves in and these storms continue to track out of here. Again, 66 with the storms passing through over the next couple of hours. We'll be here keeping you updated through the overnight and into the morning.